Yes, hello and welcome back to the PE Insights podcast with me, Nathan Walker, brought to you by the fantastic team at PE Scholar. Today we dive into the catalogue and I bring you a conversation with Sam Horton. Sam is a PE and swimming lead at a primary school in England, and he shares some of his processes today and his insights around PE and swimming. Interesting conversation, lots for you to think about. Also, Sam has started his own podcast recently, so if you're interested in what Sam has to say, you might want to jump across and listen to some of his conversations. Sam, good morning, mate. Welcome to the PE Insights podcast. Great to have you.
Good morning, Nathan. Thank you very much for having me on.
Yeah, no, really looking forward to this one. It's the first one recording for me this academic year, so it's always good to get off on the right foot. So I know we've had a couple of technical issues this morning, but we're here. Let's get started and dive in. So let's start. Tell the listeners a little bit about yourself and why physical education is important to you.
So my name is Sam Horton. I am the primary PE and swimming lead at Woolscope Primary School. A little bit about myself is I started doing a bit of physical activity around about 9-10 years old when I started playing football. So I don't really remember my primary PE experience that much, probably because it was the early 90s. It was quite a long time ago. But I remember teachers doing stuff and we played a couple of matches, stuff like that. But I feel that when I started playing football outside of school, that really gave me the buzz to try and do it within my school setting. So I remember a little bit in years 5 and 6, but it's definitely at high school level when I started to really take proper ownership of really loving it and the passion and the drive there. So I played football at a decent level until about 14, 15. And then from there, I did a little bit of coaching, football coaching I wanted to do when I was 16 years old. I remember leaving college, getting my FA qualification and volleyball. I had volleyball as well. Different.
Yeah.
I did all that, but I kind of left the area for a bit. And then when I was a little bit older, late 20s, my friend said to me, do you fancy doing a bit of sports coaching again? And I haven't done this for years by now. So I did some volunteer work at his school. Really, really enjoyed it. Before I dived into that, I was a PT. And then stupidly, I thought, I've taught these adults fitness. It's an easy from adult children. No way. So I did a little bit of that.
Yeah.
I remember my first ever day doing voluntary. I was that guy right in the corner. Well, because he was he was a classroom teacher. His class was there, and I was right in the corner. I was like, "Oh God, this is so nerve-wracking." But I did voluntary, really enjoyed it. Did that for about a year or so, and then I went to a sports coaching company, and with the sports coaching company, I did after-school clubs. I did lunchtime stuff like that. Just try to get into this part of the primary side. I loved it and everything like that. And I found a job online at Woolscope Primary School, and I just remember that day so well. It was raining really heavily, and I just thought they want a sports coach, but on the application, it says that they need to have their swimming qualification as well. And I thought, I haven't got my swimming qualification just yet. And I wasn't going to go. I was just about to drive off. And I just thought, do you know what? I'll just ask. I went in there and I said to the head teachers, I haven't got a swimming qualification. I'm really, really sorry. She said, don't worry. If you're successful, we'll put you on the course. And I was umming and ahhing about whether to go or not. And luckily, I did it. So I've been within my school setting for 7 years now. I was a sports coach for 4 years, and then I got my head down, really, really worked hard as a sports coach. And then 3 years ago, I got promoted again as a PE teacher. And then 2 years now, I've been promoted again as the PE coordinator and the swimming coordinator. So I'm in charge of 2 subjects, oversee everything. I'm in charge of PESPA for the whole entire school as well. So it's a very, very intense job, but very enjoyable as well.
Yeah. Awesome. So tell us a little bit about what your key messages are for physical education. Then what do you believe in, and what are the key messages that you give to the children in your PE lessons?
Well, I feel like sorry, the question was for you before, is that what does PE mean to me? I feel like there's 3
Yeah.
And the reason why is because one is that journey of as having the pupil's eyes. So it's make sure the engagement's there and the social aspect needs to be there for the children as well. But then you need to have the eyes as a PE teacher as well. The eyes of the PE teacher is make sure that you are delivering lessons that allows to have those 4 areas that we know of: the physical, the emotional, the social, and the cognitive side. You need to bring all that in. Well, they need to be fun, engaging, with a purpose. So as a PE teacher, that's the delivery is very, very important. But for me as a lead, the importance as a lead to make sure that that children have this is you need to make sure that you are overseeing. For me as a lead, I need to make sure that I'm overseeing my subjects, that my staff are confident and competent to deliver in those areas. Make sure that if there's areas that they need to focus on to improve on that, there's CPD, there's mentoring to put in place as well. Systems that needs to be embedded within my practice. My staff follow my expectations document, and that has a clear breakdown of what I expect to make sure that the high levels of PE is happening. On top of that, I'm in charge of PESPA, so I need to make sure that I take advantage of the physical activity. I need to make sure that active breaks are happening, make sure that lunch times and make sure my staff at lunchtime are competent to be on their zones and to really to entice children to come over. And lunchtime specifically is all about fun and engagement, where in my lessons, yes, we have that fun engagement, but there's a purpose in the lessons they need to learn. But take advantage of all areas. So for me, from that question, I've got 3 different areas: pupils' eyes, PE teacher eyes, and obviously a leadership eyes.
Nice. So yeah, it's like almost like the Brookfield's lenses as a reflective lens of the 4 different lenses that you can reflect through. I like the idea of using lenses to view physical education. That's quite a nice sort of analogy. You talked about your expectations document. Really interested in maybe what that consists of then, and what you talked about. These are the things, or almost non-negotiables for my PE staff to provide high quality PE. Not putting you on the spot, but maybe what are some of those things?
So I'll break it down to 3 stages. You've got your display, so how I like my displays to look like. My main chunk, which is the step-by-step of what I expect from my lessons. And then my last bit is how I expect the assessment grids to be sorted as well. Okay. So the lesson structure is basically, we've been a Rose and Shine school for quite a while now.
Right.
So it's very much a mentoring school, our school is. We support one another to try and get those the high levels that we're looking for. So for me, you need to make sure the environment's right first. So the staff need to make sure that ground rules are embedded. They need to make sure that you are following things through, because without the environment right, you cannot start your lesson. So we put, obviously through Rose and Shine, it's establish what you establish. And then your IWU school. So you need to make sure that you are showing clear demonstrations. We are doing it as a collective, doing it together. And then peer-on-peer work as well. And then I bring in challenges into my lesson as well. So my challenges is the U approach, and that's your independent learning. So, for example, if you're doing the key stage and they're working on sending and receiving the ball to each other in the ready position. So you're slowly breaking down, drip feeding those teaching points. So I do it as drip feed my teaching points, but I do my level up teaching, slowly increase the skill at the same time, so preventing cognitive overload. And then the end goal is that you want them to send and receive competently through a gate, and then do locomotion, different movements to another gate. Once they've done all that, that's where the challenge comes in. You go, okay, you've got 1 minute to count how many passes you complete through the zones. So then you take the step back. You've just taught them the skill, and now you're taking a step back. They think they're bringing that fun aspect, the challenge, but really what you're doing is let's see what you've just learned.
Yeah, nice. And that's a really good example of that scaffolding approach that Rose and Shine would obviously advocate for. I love that. I am really interested in displays. And obviously this is maybe more of the thing in primary school without being too stereotypical. My wife might disagree with me there. But displays, what does that do for young people in a school setting then for physical education?
Well, it's championing what they've just learned, so you can make it really a positive impact. So I've got displaying my Key Stage 2 building, I've got display in Key Stage 1, I've got displays in EYFS. So my Key Stage 2 building, I've got 2 separate ones. And what I like to do is I like to really keep them in the know. I think communication with the children is very important. So on my main display board over Key Stage 2 for the old children, I've got my long-term plan there. I've got, my medium-term plan. I've got my topic structure down there. I've got the competitions. I think it's really important for them to know, even though that's all leadership stuff, I think it's important for the children to understand what entails with the subject. And then we've got another board just outside my office where it's all to do with it's evidence. So we got chance to shine photos on there. We got school sports week stuff there. We got sports day, and just build up of evidence of photos, because I think that's really, really good as well. Nice. So when children walk past, they go, "Do you know what? If I take part in physical activity, it is so much fun," and you want to bring that fun aspect into it as well. So Key Stage 1, we've got stuff there that is just specifically Key Stage 1 based. But the other thing that I do as well, the topics of each half term, because within our school setting, there's 2 PE teachers. There's myself and there's my partner teacher who's a PE teacher as well. So a cohort has 2 topics in the morning or an afternoon. So every single classroom will have the topic on their door, because I think it's very important for children to understand the difference between topic and what they are learning as well. So for example, your topic is OAA, outdoor adventurous activities. What you're learning is sportsmanship, teamwork, non-verbal, verbal cues, and so on and so on. So there's a separation.
Okay. And is that a theme that runs through your sort of PE curriculum in the school? That's quite conceptual maybe, so that you're looking at teamwork, sportsmanship rather than the development of skills and movement competence, or is there a balance? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, 7 years ago when I first started, it'd probably be a complete different answer. I think 7 years ago that I would focus away purely on the emotional and social side, and then it actually drip feed in the other topics. But because times have changed and COVID hit us, and because children are very much tablets, the emotional social side has had to go in everything. I mean, like everything in my curriculum, all to do with your after-school clubs, during lunchtimes, it goes at any point that you can put it in, because we know that the emotional social side is probably the highest it's ever been.
Yeah.
So
I'd agree. Yeah. Okay. So you obviously within your role, you are you oversee the swimming provision as well. Yeah, I think it's really an important, probably an opportune moment for us to talk about swimming and the importance of swimming then. So what does good swimming provision look like in primary and then perhaps through to secondary from your perspective?
Well, it's very different. I'm quite lucky. And the reason why I'm lucky is because we have a swimming pool on site.
Yeah.
I would, if I didn't have a swimming pool on site, I would literally just be the PE coordinator. So because we've got a swimming pool on site, I'm the PE coordinator and the swimming coordinator. And what I do is the skills and all the systems that I have created within my PE side, I just transfer that over to my swimming. Having that teacher knowledge, you just transfer your teacher skills over to the swimming as well. How it works within my school setting is that in years 3 and 4, children are taught swimming on a weekly basis throughout the whole entire academic year. So every single year group still has 2 years. Every single year group still has 2 hours of physical activity. But in years 3 and 4, how it works is they have 1 hour PE followed by a 1 hour swimming lesson. So that's how I do it in years 3 and 4. But I don't forget the other year groups. In years 1 and 2, I do it as an after-school club. And then in years 2, specifically for the whole summer term, I like to have year 2 only, because I would like to use that as a good transition for September. And in years 5 and 6, I use that as interventions focusing purely on the national curriculum outcomes. with my swimming is exactly how, like I said to you, how I do my PE. I focus on my vision and values first, and then everything needs to have a pure link. Every single system that is within the school, no other school has it because I've created every single one. So you've got your vision and values, pure link to the long-term plan, then it goes to your medium-term plan, short-term plan, progression map transfers over. Progression map is then turned into end documents, and then you got your vocabulary. I always look at resources. So the resource that I use with anything, I put my own stamp on it. So the one that I use for swimming is Swim England. Swim England School Swimming Charter. It used to have to pay, I think it was about £30 a year or something like that. It's free now. It's a phenomenal resource. Even if you're a school that isn't looking like myself and you have to go to a leisure centre, I would still have that resource as a helping hand, because I hear so many stories that you go to a leisure centre and the teacher goes in and support. Have something that will give you a bit of a helping hand as well. So I use Swim England School Swimming Charter, and I've just transferred that and I've into my own thing, and I spread it out over a 2-year period. And how it looks is, again, expectations document, separation from my PE. I've got a swimming one, and it's a clear breakdown. And for me, with my PE teacher and my swimming teacher, it's all about that constant making sure that communication is high between all three of us. My PE teacher and my swimming teacher have a clear understanding of what I expect as well. At the same time, I like to collaborate as well. If my PE teacher or swimming teacher's got a good idea, of course, we'll do that as well. And then my three is, you need to make sure that you get them active as quickly as possible. So a nice quick warm up. But for me, this is a lesson. So everything that you do has to have a clear purpose. So we go straight into our warm up, get them nice and active. From a warm up, then we'll go into lesson breakdown, learn objective, specify the knowledge, lesson breakdown. That'll take literally about a minute or two. And then you'll go into your main theme. Your main theme is your skill. And like I said, I do it the same thing, clear, step by step, prevent cognitive overload, challenge all areas, your great depth all the way down to your working below, prevent stopping, so maintain those activity levels nice and high. Can you speak to an individual? Do you really need to speak to the whole class right now? If the answer is no, don't stop it. Only speak to the whole class when you need to, when it's like right at the beginning of your demonstration. And then bringing that peer on peer, that's really, really important. Bring that peer on peer. I've taught a class where I'm going to focus on the skill. I've seen a child find it a little bit challenging. The other child has got it right. Go and support your teammate. On top of that, specific praise is so important as well. Don't just say well done. Be specific. So, for example, well done, Charlie, for holding your pencil float for 3 seconds. So he knows that he needs to hold his pencil float for 3 seconds whilst he's doing push and glide. I think the benefit about that is you're being specific. But the children around him, if they haven't got it, it gives them an extra, I know what he's looking for. So just little things like that. So I'm very all to do with high expectations, really.
So what are the class sizes that you're working with in those swimming lessons, Sam?
So we used to work it as a whole cohort, 30 in a pool, but the thing about that is that I just don't think they had enough teacher time. So what we've done now is, with all the other year groups, we do it as cohort PPA. But with years 3 and 4, we do it as one class in the morning and one class in the afternoon over the 2-day period. So now my PE teacher will have 15 children and I will have the other 15 children, then we'll rotate. I think the great thing about having 15 children in the pool is they have a lot more teacher attention now, a lot more teacher time, because the swimming teacher will have 7 or 8 kids and I'll have the other 7 or 8 kids. We do it as ability groups as well. One teacher will have the high ability children, where the other teacher will have the working below, working towards. Sometimes, obviously, if it's working really well and they're progressing, obviously I will keep having more to my group, and my swimming teacher will focus more on that intervention work, because obviously the more teacher time she'll have on the children that aren't quite there yet, it's only going to benefit them. So that's what I do with years 3 and 4.
Brilliant. I'm thinking about my experience of teaching swimming, particularly in my international experience, and I'm very privileged, obviously, in international schools to normally have relatively good access to facilities that support good swimming, and we often had swim coaches and supporting TAs, and sometimes our ratios are 1-6, which obviously makes the job really, really, well, not really easy, but easier than the class size that's double that, or even, like you said, if you did have the whole cohort before. I think with swimming in particular, we need to have more time with individuals, right, because of the nature of it. But wouldn't that be great for every activity we teach?
Yeah,
my thinking then, to pick your brain a little bit, what activities you talked about, purposeful active warm-ups. What's a good warm-up for 15 kids that just jumped in a swimming pool in year 4?
Well, I like to bring the link of PE, your mind having the same kind of mindset. So PE is different directions, different pathways, bringing agility. So I like to bring that link in. And obviously, the pure link from PE to swimming is the gymnastic skills as well, pencils, pencil jump and star jump, tuck jump, all that kind of stuff. It needs, when I say purposeful, whatever you taught as your main theme, this is the same. Like I said to you before, whatever I bring in my PE leadership, I bring it into my swimming. Whatever the main theme was the week before, it's good to bring that into your warm-up drill. So, for example, if we're focusing on push and glides, we can easily bring in, I've got I call it Toy Story. So different commands. And when you say when Andy's coming, get into a pencil on your front or back. So you bring that fun aspect in. But like I say, it's that, the great thing about that is that you're looking for prior learning and gap filling. Any children that need support, to take advantage of it, gap filling on your warm up and cool down. So I'll do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, this is me being a bit curious, and you might not have the answer, but you might have from your experience. You've talked about the privilege of having a swimming pool on site, right? Which is wonderful, fantastic. What can we do then to encourage PE departments to make decisions to get swimming on their curriculum when they might have to justify traveling 20 minutes there and 20 minutes back? How does that fit on the timetable? Where's the budget for that? How can we encourage swimming if those are things that play into the decision making? Have you got any thoughts on that?
Well, we all know that it's getting tighter with the money, with budget, in the way that when I started off as a sports coach, we was doing 20, 30 competitions a year, and it's slowly decreasing. And I think it's because things are getting more expensive. And with my head teacher, which I agree with, she's not just focusing purely, she's very supportive over the PE and swimming, but she's focusing on the whole curriculum for classroom teachers when they're going on geography courses, history course, trips, science trips, and all that kind of stuff. And it all adds up. I do, with me, like I say, we're quite lucky where we have a swimming pool on site. I've discussed with other coordinators on conferences in the past where they do find it very challenging, and sometimes it's a tick box. I've spoken to some people in the past where they've taken their children, a deprived area, they've taken some children to a 6 weeks block, and then they won't swim for a year. How is a child going to achieve 25 meters in 6 weeks? It's just it's unachievable. So I think it's very tough. I find it very tough for these coordinators that haven't got it, because my story would probably be very different if I had to go to leisure centre. So I don't know the ins and outs. I would say that they would probably find it very, very challenging, because sometimes you go to conferences and you go, where's this person? Where's this lead from? And they haven't been let out. So you're thinking, if they haven't even got management time or some time to just disappear after a conference, when they are going to have time to actually take the kids to the leisure centre? So you got to add that all across. And then on top of that, how do you know if the delivery is going to be quality stuff as well? I hear so many stories about they send children over to the leisure centre and they've had their active learning time was 2 minutes in a 30-minute lesson. So then you think, though, you're paying all this money, and then the people in the leisure centre need to be upskilled themselves. I've took my child to swimming schools in the past, and there was a couple that was good, but there's one or two I pulled her out just because I might be thinking, this isn't quality stuff here. So it's a tough one, because you're going in the unknown as well. I bet it's very expensive, but it's just that you have to tick it off because it is part of. You have to put it on the website, don't you? By the time they leave year 6, so you have to put it on there. It's a life skill. But then you get these sports coaching companies that are really trying really hard. Like Swim Ed's a really, really good one where they found a gap in the market where they put it on on your car park. So at least someone's trying the best, because you hear these stories nowadays, not positive stories. You hear those stories where leisure centres are starting to close now because they can't afford to stay open because of electric bills and stuff like that. So
that's a wider issue, isn't it?
Yeah. So this is my experience within my school setting. When I do eventually move on, and if I, just take them to a leisure centre, I wonder if I'll have a completely different answer for that.
Yeah, it's a tricky question. I don't think anyone's particularly got the answer right now. I mean, I often go into secondary schools in the southwest of England where we're adequately positioned close to the coast, where maybe swimming opportunities could be built in that way. But we still, in secondary schools, still don't see it necessarily on curriculums, and it's a real shame. And I think more needs to be done. Having a conversation with Mo Jafar soon, and I know he's going to share similar thoughts and reflections on this topic. Let's talk a little bit about curriculum design or schemes and sequence of learning design. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I've been in and out of it as a sports coach. When I first started, we were a sports coach department. There was 4 of us, so we always did a little bit of our own thing. We brought in systems in the past as well, but I decided about 2 or 3 years ago the best idea I've ever come up with, and by far the worst idea I've come up with, is design my own scheme work, because I wanted to go above and beyond, but I at the same time I didn't want to have a life about 2 or 3 years as well, because I wanted to work non-stop creating my systems. No, all jokes apart, I wanted to create my own systems because I haven't got a QTS. I am the subject leader with my school, but I'm the full-time PE teacher. Normally, a primary PE coordinator, subject leader, is a classroom teacher. And I had this mindset, especially last year, this negativity around myself that I wasn't good enough. I believe in myself now, but I had this thing in my mindset last year. I was like, I'm not good enough. I want to go as high as I possibly can in my career, but the door always closes on me as I haven't got my QTS. So I thought, I need to do something. I need to do something about this. So I've created my systems in detail. They are like quality systems. I've had a sports coach company already brought into my swimming medium-term plans, short-term plans in the past. And I'm creating these designs because I'm lucky enough to be in charge of a subject that I teach on a day-to-day basis. And for me, I know the knowledge, I've got it. I love resources. I take as much resources as I possibly can from different companies, and I look at it and I put my own big stamp on it, and then I create systems around it. And like I say, I've got my vision and values in detail. From that has that pure link to a long-term plan. I would say I've got about 72 medium-term plans and about 360 short-term plans. So it's a massive scheme of work, and everything has that pure link. So my short-term plan, literally minute by minute, it even has the formation, how to put your cones out and how the pupils should be there, and it has your challenges in, it has your key question, your probing questions, it has your teaching points, it has your specified knowledge, it has your pure link of your your assessment grids of each lesson. So when my lessons need to be universal in a way that if I'm off, can a HLTA, can an LSA follow my plan and know exactly what they're doing? So it's so specific.
Sam, you talk about I think you've mentioned it maybe twice or 3 times in our chat today, that your big stamp, or put your big stamp on it. What is that? What sprinkling do you put on these resources at every time that matter to you the most?
It's all about high expectations. That's my big stamp. My big stamp is high expectations, and always think about preventing stuff happening. And on top of that is making sure that children have the best possible opportunity to succeed. So I constantly striving to be the best version of myself. That's my stamp. And the reason why I'm constantly striving to be the best version of myself is because if I stay at that level, then the children are given the opportunity to succeed, and hopefully by the time they leave year 6, they'll have that love, that passion to carry on with that physical activity for the rest of their lives. Especially, I want that jump from year 6 to secondary school. I've said to them recently, my upper key stage 2 children, there's one thing that I want you to remember from when you leave primary school. Don't worry about the lessons. Yes, you find them fun and engaging, but there's one thing I want you to remember from me, and that is sportsmanship. If you have sportsmanship, it's going to make you a better person later on in life. So that's why I do it.
So I'm getting a sense from what you've said today that you really value the sort of holistic aspects of physical education as much as the developing motor competence. Yes, they might be hand in hand, but you're talking about sportsmanship, you're talking about fair play, being a better person. What do you do in your lessons as a teacher that you're encouraging from the students that kind of promotes that?
Well, they're quite lucky because I'm based within the school setting. It's different when you're a sports coach, and like sometimes you work for a sports coach company and you're at this school for a day or that school for a couple of days and so on. Because I'm based within school, and because my PE teacher is based in school, the children see us day in, day out. So I constantly go through it. I constantly go through day in, day out, because children work well with structure. So whenever I have the opportunity, it's not just the lessons. I'm focusing on sportsmanship, and going into fine detail. Well done, congratulations, high fives, shake hands. I constantly bring that into lunchtime, and the great thing about that is that, like, I can't do this by myself. My PE teacher can't do this by himself. We tried to do it by ourselves at the start of last year. We need more support. So we've had sportsmanship assemblies. We've done where they've done sportsmanship assemblies in class. We've coached our lunchtime supervisors of the expectations of sportsmanship. Make sure that they shake hands after every single game. Make sure they shout good luck after every single game. I make sure that's embedded. So I don't focus on the lesson. I focus on whenever I get the opportunity, we go for it.
Nice. I like it. Okay, so this again might put you on the spot a little bit. Either 1, 2, or 3 top tips for PE teachers.
My first tip is environment, because without the environment, there's no point carrying on. So my first one is that you've got to make sure the environment is right, ready to learn. So you've got to make sure that whatever you say goes, and children have it. I'll give you an example. So this last couple of weeks, start of the year, I brought in some ground rules. 5 ground rules altogether. 3 of them are already embedded within the school because of the school rules. So you've got follow instruction, keep my hands and feet to myself, nice words only, and my other 2 rules that I've brought in: no shouting out, whether you win or lose, show respect to others through good sportsmanship. So what I've done is, with that environment, is that I've sat down my Key Stage 2 children and we've gone through in detail what to expect. These are our expectations this year. You need to follow them. I say it like in a way that if you follow them, here's the positives. You're going to get house points. You're going to get rewarded through certificates. You could, the children that are going above and beyond is the star boy, star girl. So they know the positives. At the same time, my Key Stage 2 children have a clear understanding that if you break the rules, here's the consequences. Warnings will be happening, and so on, so on, so on. And then we call it timeout reflection time. You'll be put into reflection time. But we still want to build a positive environment, because without a positive environment, children do not want to learn. So when they come out of reflection time, if they break the rules, tell me the reason why you're in reflection time, because they need to know why they were put into reflection time. And on top of that, you put a positive spin into it. Be a motivator as a teacher. can you please tell me the rule that you've just broken? Okay. And then it's on my board. It's visually there. I've broken number 1, follow instruction. So what do you need to do now? I need to make sure I'm following the teacher's instruction. Okay, come on, let's go for it. Don't forget, if you're amazing, we can get rewarded. So you have to put a positive spin. So environment is my first tip. You've got to make sure that's right, especially in the water. In the water, if they're talking, if they're shouting and stuff like that, if a child's having an asthma attack, if a child has tripped over and banged their head, I said to the children, if you're screaming, shouting, do I know that a child has hurt themselves? No. If I need to phone an ambulance, do you need to have your voices off? Yes, I do. So you build that environment. Once I've got my environment right, they're ready to learn. And so that's my number 1. Number 2, I would say work well with a neighbour school, specifically for new PE coordinators. And you've got some, there's like, for example, with me, I'm around the Dudley Borough, and there's some PE coordinators that have been leaders for years and years and years. So I think it's very, very good for you to go over to their school, see what works well for them, and take some golden nuggets, and for them to come over to your school as well. So collaborate with them, because we're all here for one reason only, and that is to give the children the best opportunity. So I'd say neighbour school is very important. That brings in that link in with networking as well. So that's your networking. Yeah. Go to PE conferences. And what I do with my networking, I've got my own Instagram page, and I'll go to as many meetings as I possibly can to try and put a name to a face. And the other things I would say is CPD. As a lead, I need to make sure that any areas that my staff, my PE teacher and swimming teacher needs to work on, CPD, get them on some courses, do some mentoring, do some team teaching, some live coaching. And then finally, my last thing is put your own stamp on it. I've thoroughly enjoyed creating my own systems and putting my own big stamp on it. So that was my final one.
Nice, yeah. I think, and also adding to the CPD, there's a shameless plug here. There's some podcasts out there that people might want to listen to in the spare time.
PE Insight's a really good one.
Yeah, I've heard. I like the putting a stamp on it. I think it's a real clear message from you, Sam, that you appreciate the value of sharing knowledge, sharing resources, but also the importance of making it yours and specific to your context. Yeah.
Of course, yes. Because the reason for it is because when I go and support, if there's any coaching, I know the systems because I've created them. So I know what the end goal is.
Yeah, great. And this is the kind of closing question. I haven't prepped you for this one, so it'll be interesting to see what your response is. You've got someone opposite you in a room and they are anti-physical education. What are you going to say to them?
Give it a go. Give it a go. Just try one of my lessons out. Give it a go. I'm sure you're going to have loads of fun. I'm going to make it super engaged, challenging. I'm going to challenge you. We're going to focus on a bit of teamwork and stuff like that. Come on, give it a go. How about you versus me at a game of tennis? Come on, let's play.
Like it. Motivational. Sam, it's been brilliant. Thanks for joining me this morning. Hope you've enjoyed having the conversation.
Thank you. I've absolutely fully enjoyed it. Thank you very much.